I'm a guy that's 24. Each day I build some more. I like the sequels. I'm Rich Boy J. Hello boyos, Rich Boy J here back in with another video, and today I'm here to ask the question, is LEGO getting lazy when it comes to detail on LEGO Star Wars minifigures? I think some people are probably going to see this as somewhat nitpicky, some people may see this as a total overreaction, but it is something that I've noticed and it's pretty important to me. I feel like if we're going to give LEGO credit for when they go above and beyond when it comes to detail on minifigures and just making them more accurate than probably any of us would have ever noticed, I think they also are liable to face some criticism when they ignore things that are actually pretty egregious. Before I get into the bulk of the video, I do want to say that I don't expect LEGO minifigs to be perfect, right? Like, the fact that they are minifigures in themselves kind of suggests that they're going to be simplified in some ways, but when it comes to things like, you know, is this character wearing this thing, or is this outfit actually accurate to this location, I think those are simple things that LEGO can absolutely implement, and things that we should hold them accountable for implementing. I think I'll first start off by giving LEGO credit for the detail that they have included in minifigures. I think since around 2012, 2013, minifigures have gotten absolutely amazing. Like, the detail that LEGO is putting into these things is just outstanding. I specifically have noticed this with the Rebel pilots, like the B-Wing pilot, A-Wing pilot, X-Wing pilot, Snowspeeder pilot. Like, they all look so nice, so detailed, and are leaps and bounds better than their original predecessors. I also want to say I love that LEGO seems to be trying new things when it comes to Star Wars minifigures. I think the biggest example for me is on the First Order TIE Pilot, the fact that it has the soft tubing to kind of represent the like breathing tubes that comes down from the helmet onto the chest plate. I thought that that was totally unprecedented, something they really didn't have to do. Like, no one would be disappointing if it wasn't implemented, but the fact that they did shows that they are committed to improving the minifigure in general and giving us new things. That being said, there have been a few instances very recently where they've just skimped out on some details that I really just can't let go by. The earliest example I can think of this to where it really struck me is I think with Jyn Erso. She's the main character of Rogue One. Usually when it comes to these new films, we can at the very least expect for the main character to be given very good treatment when it comes to minifig detail, when it comes to new hair molds if necessary, and I guess for the most part we got this with Jyn on her original figure. We got the Edu version with the hat dual molded with her hair beneath it, which was pretty cool. Problem, however, is that we still to this day, like, what, 3 years after the movie has been released, not gotten an actual hair mold for Jyn Erso. And the set that she was released in without a hat, she just came with like the most generic female hair piece, and it really does beg the question, like, why is this character apparently not good enough to get a unique hair piece? Like, I'd like you guys to compare this with Kira from Solo. For one, Kira is not even the main character of the film. Two, Kira got a unique hair piece for the flashback version of her character, not even like the main character throughout the film, just for the flashback, like at the beginning. This would be the equivalent if like LEGO released, I don't know, like a young Jyn Erso with a custom hairpiece, but like the older Jyn Erso that we see for the bulk of the film can't get a unique hairpiece, and they instead opt for something generic and inaccurate. Point being, the precedent is certainly set there that if they really want, they can give a character a new hairpiece. This isn't like an unusual thing, but for whatever reason with Jyn Erso, they've just elected not to. I like to fast forward to another instance, and this is with the Betrayal on Cloud City set, the Master Builder series Betrayal on Cloud City set. I was really excited about this set because of the minifigs. There are a lot of minifigures in this set that we just hadn't gotten updated versions for in almost 2 decades, so there was a lot of anticipation, at least from me, for the set, and I felt the set mostly delivered. Like, the Han Solo we got in there with the dual molded pants is just unbelievable. I think that's in the top 5 of all Star Wars figures, but the Leia and the hairpiece is just unacceptable. Rather than giving her a unique hairpiece, one that actually belongs to that character, on Bespin, they just give her her standard episode 5 hairpiece with the 2 braids that's not even accurate. I feel like most people probably don't even notice that her hair is different in this sequence, so it probably doesn't make a big deal to most people. But for me, it sticks out, especially considering we still, to this point, don't have that hairpiece in LEGO. For such a premium set, I mean, it's $350. I think at the very least we can have, you know, the best possible interpretation of those figures. Once again, if Flashback Kira can get a unique hair mold, why can't Bespin Leia get a unique hair mold? But now let's move forward to the two incidents I feel that really just stick out as like LEGO being super lazy when it comes to minifigure detail. Earlier this year, we had the release of the 20th anniversary sets, and I think they were mostly adored by people. Like, it was kind of cool to get some re-releases of throwback sets that we all had some appreciation for back in the day. But there was a really big problem with the Snowspeeder Pilots. For one, they weren't Snowspeeder Pilots. LEGO has actually done a really good job, I feel, as I mentioned earlier in this video, at giving us unique pilot figures and really distinguishing between Snowspeeder and X-Wing pilots. Most people probably don't know that there's a difference between the two outfits, but there actually is a pretty big difference. Like, if you look at the two character designs, like the Snowspeeder pilots are actually wearing like a big orange coat over their jumpsuit, and they have white gloves and like a puffy collar. And there are just some details that, you know, LEGO actually has implemented into figures. I want to be very clear, there does exist an accurate Snowspeeder pilot print out there. Like, LEGO has made it quite a few times actually. But for whatever reason, on this newest Snowspeeder, LEGO's decided, you know what, we have a few extra X-Wing pilot jumpsuit prints sitting around, let's just throw those in there. No one's probably gonna notice, right? You know, like, no one cares about that sort of thing. And it really stuck out to me. I love the fact that they were willing to make the distinction in the first place, and then they just decided to go back on that, like we wouldn't notice. Like, we didn't actually already have the Snowspeeder pilot print out there. And this one really bugged me because, like, there's no reason for them to do this. Like, this isn't me just asking for something new, like, oh, why can't they make this thing? This is just me asking them to be consistent with what they've done before. Like, why not just include the Snowspeeder pilots? And I probably wouldn't have even made this video if this second circumstance didn't come up recently, but this one I feel is pretty egregious as well. If you look in the Millennium Falcon that came out for the Rise of Skywalker sets, C-3PO is in it, which is cool. It's the first time we've gotten C-3PO outside of an original trilogy set, and I want you guys to think about that, right? Like, C-3PO has never come in a prequel set of any sorts, never come in a Clone Wars set. We had the poly bag of C-3PO for The Force Awakens, but he was still never in a proper Force Awakens set. Not in the Last Jedi set either, but so this is the first time we've gotten a C-3PO minifigure in a set that wasn't from the original trilogy. I want to pull up a picture. This is C-3PO from the sequels, right? So in The Force Awakens, at least at the beginning, he has his red arm, and everyone noticed that, right? And then later on in the film, at the very end, actually, he doesn't have the red arm. A lot of people probably noticed that he didn't have it in The Last Jedi, but like, it's actually, he got it replaced sometime between the beginning and the end of The Force Awakens. So red arm is gone. But one thing I also want to draw your attention to is the fact that silver leg is gone as well. C-3PO was sporting silver leg in the original trilogy, didn't have it in the prequels, didn't have it in the sequels. Now, I want you to take a look at this figure from The Rise of Skywalker, and I want you to tell me what's wrong with it. Yeah, the silver leg is back. We have an original trilogy C-3PO minifigure in a sequel set. I know a lot of people are probably looking at this and like, oh, like, that doesn't matter. Like, that's not a big deal at all. But I really feel it is, and for a few reasons, actually. One, it's just inaccurate, right? Like, the figure doesn't belong there. The sequel C-3PO doesn't have a silver leg. So for one, it's just wrong. Two, we don't have this version of C-3PO. Like I said, he's only come in original trilogy sets, so we've only had original trilogy versions of C-3PO absent the poly bag that they released for The Force Awakens. Them putting a C-3PO in this set without the silver leg would actually go a long way, because it would, by default, give us an episode 3 C-3PO as well, because he's basically the same character design in the sequels minus the red arm as he is in episode 3. So this would actually be like a pretty significant figure, and LEGO just figured, you know, no one's gonna notice. Silver leg, most people probably don't even notice from the beginning, so just throw it in there. And I really feel like these shortcuts that LEGO seems to be taking with these figures isn't a good look. Like I said, like, I praise them for the amount of detail and the attention to accuracy that they were willing to put into many figures before, and for them to be just skimping out on these details at this point isn't a good sign. It isn't a good trend, and I'm not necessarily loving where this is going. Now, I'm not trying to like overreact to this, right? Like, we still get great minifigures. Like, you know, for every time they skimp out on details. Like there's like 10 or 15 figures that they went above and beyond with, but like why can't that instead just be the expectation for all figures? The set designers and art designers are putting a lot of effort into making sure they put the best possible product out there. They're spending a lot of time looking at the details and nuances in sets and trying to figure out what they can implement. And for simple things like this to be ignored, like the fact that C-3PO should not have a silver leg in the set, or the fact that Snowspeeder Pilots should come with the Snowspeeder, I don't know, those just seem like really easy things that they could do, but maybe they just feel like we're not going to notice them, so they don't do them. I'm not sure, but that's really going to finish up my discussion on this topic. I'd love to know how you guys feel about it. Do you think I'm overreacting? Do you think this really isn't a big deal? Or do you think there's at least cause for some concern? Like, I want to be very clear. Like, I'm not saying that, you know, Lego's going down the wrong path or anything, or things are awful. I'm just saying I'd like to have, you know, consistency when it comes to the detail and accuracy of minifigures. So let me know how you guys feel about the topic in the description below. And that's going to finish it up. If you guys like what I do, go ahead, support the video by hitting the like button, support the channel by smashing that subscribe button, and I'll be back again very soon.